I know. It's an incredible story. But I'm going to tell you the whole thing.
We have arrived at the scariest episode of the Twilight Zone so far. This is The Howling Man. And it's written by my hero, Charles Beaumont, the best writer of the Twilight Zone. So far he's written Perchance to Dream, Elegy, Long Live Walter Jameson. But he improves as the seasons go on. And he does the more horror-themed episodes, ending with the Living Doll one. And he always does such a great job of starting the episode. He doesn't start with slow exposition, he starts with a bang. In this case, the main character, Mr. David Ellington, talking directly to the camera, stark raving mad with the camera tilted, an effect they'll use many times in this episode to show the character is crazy, or is he? He's going to be the narrator and tell us exactly how he met the devil. It starts with a bang and gets into one of my favorite setups for a horror movie or series. Well, a guy is lost and he knocks on a door because in this case he decided to go on a walking tour of World War I. It takes place somewhere in the mid 1920s, but he went on a walking tour where he was exploring the sites and battlefields of World War I. I guess maybe they did that back then. He gets lost, he's a bit injured, and he comes across this large castle. It's raining, he knocks on the door, and some shepherds answer. So while this episode takes place in the 20s, this house looks like it's from the 1800s. The leader of these shepherds is a guy by the name of Brother Jerome, and he has a man imprisoned in this dark, dank castle, who throughout the episode you will hear howl. This will just happen randomly, and it always caught me off guard every single time. It's a great way to keep the creepy atmosphere moving, since there's a section halfway through where Jerome goes through the backstory of how this prisoner got to be here. He says that he's the devil, and David Ellington doesn't really believe him. And throughout him giving this story, you just hear the howling of the devil randomly ringing throughout this castle. When I first watched this episode, I thought, this is definitely not one written by Rod Serling. It's too scary, has a completely different atmosphere from what you would normally expect from a Twilight Zone episode. This is a straight horror episode with nothing science fiction whatsoever. Yet it's one of the best ones we've seen so far, since there's two possibilities. Either Brother Jerome is lying and he is actually the devil, or this person he has imprisoned actually is the devil. David Ellington meets with this man several times throughout the episode. Not for very long. They catch on that he's talking to him and try to pull him away. And he seems very innocent. He convinces them that they just have him locked up for absolutely no reason, and then their plan is to kill not only the prisoner, but also David Ellington as well, since when he first came into this castle, they really didn't want to take him in, and they told him to go away, but finally they gave in and let him stay in a room. So I was convinced that probably it is Brother Jerome. I mean, he looks more like the devil anyways, with his ridiculous staff and white beard. And after talking to this prisoner, David Ellington agrees to set him loose. And when he takes the key off the guard that is watching over him in his cell and goes to the cell of the prisoner, he sees that there's actually only a staff that's keeping him locked up in this jail cell, something that Brother Jerome had mentioned. That was the only thing keeping the devil away. Another great bit of writing, because you're not sure Brother Jerome's telling the truth, but as you see this staff is the only thing that's holding him in this jail cell and he lifts it up, you come to the realization they want you to come to, which is, yes, this was the devil the entire time. And then we see a nice scene where he does a werewolf type changing. He goes in between these pillars, and each time he looks more and more like the devil until he comes into his full form that looks like this. But the episode is not over right there. If it just stopped right there, it'd still be a great episode. But we were introed at the beginning with David Ellington talking directly to the camera in this manic state. We flash forward about 2 decades, and David Ellington has tracked down the devil again and now has him locked away with this staff keeping him in his own jail cell. And he's talking to a housekeeper to not remove the staff. Just like many years ago, Brother Jerome told him not to remove the staff. Well, what happens? What do you think? The housekeeper removes the staff. It ends on a very creepy note. The devil can take any shape and form that it wants to. He looks like Dracula when he's kept away in the castle. This time he looks more like a hairy beast. So I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. I think it's absolutely excellent and holds up very well today in 2026. While it seems silly that David Ellington would have a housekeeper and tell her not to open this door when he knows that many years ago he did the same thing. He was told not to open the door and he did. It still is a great way to end the episode, even though he's doing something that's rather stupid, because it wraps everything together and is also saying that the devil's able to convince anyone to let him loose. That's why it's so hard to keep him under lock and key, because he's so persuasive and can act innocent when he wants to and evil when he wants to. He is, after all, the father of lies. John Carradine played the character Brother Jerome. He was in The Grapes of Wrath as Casey, the man who shot Liberty Valance, in a real werewolf movie, The Howling. While he looks like he's like 80 years old in this episode with his fake beard, he was actually only 54. And the vampire himself, H.M. Wynett, who played the character David Ellington, was born in 1927, and guess what? He's still alive. Let's give it up for him. We have never seen this in the Twilight Zone before. The only time this happens is when there's a character who's like 5 years old. Some of those people are still alive, but no one who was born in 1927. And I haven't looked it up. Is this real? Did they just forget to update it on IMDb? But no. Google wants to sarcastically remind me that yes, HM is alive and kicking, and he's currently 99 years old. So please ignore rumors and hoaxes. Fine, Google, you win. He was in 2 episodes of Mannix, Run of the Arrow, and, of course, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Because remember, Rod Serling wrote the screenplay for the original Planet of the Apes, so if you're on one of his Twilight Zones, he's going to throw you a little bone and give you one of the sequels. We've seen this like 40 times in this series. And a few fun facts. Charles Beaumont had originally envisioned that the monks, I call them shepherds, but supposed to be monks, would keep the devil in prison by putting a cross in front of his cell door, which would make a lot more sense. But he couldn't do that because apparently Charles Beaumont always wanted to give the censors a heart attack. Every single time he does an episode, he has to like cut stuff. So they substituted the Staff of Truth over the actual cross. Next episode is another great one, Eye of the Beholder, which is up there in at least the top 5 of the most memorable episodes of the Twilight Zone. While I think it's a good episode, once you know the twist ending, it's not exactly one you watch over and over again. But we'll try to break it down. It's a great reveal at the end, but come on, you already know what this episode's about. You've seen it, or seen billion parodies of it. From what I can tell, it's probably the second most popular episode. Nightmare at 20,000 Feet has to be number 1st. Well, William Shatner shooting at a guy in a gorilla suit on an airplane wing. Come on, can you really beat that? And check out our playlist for the other series we've covered. We're doing every single episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, Twilight Zone, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Black Mirror, on our journey to review every single TV anthology show that's ever existed.